Alrighty. I think we are on air now. I hope. I dearly hope so. Alright. So then, let's see. Let me just... Oh, I have to post on X. Let me just do that first. Okay. Alrighty. That should do it. Alright. So we are live. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. So, oh, good day. Hello, Markoski. Thank you for joining me today. So, yes, yay, the comments. They're not cut off today. So, last night I did a stream in Japanese, and I don't know why something happened to the comments. It got cut off, so it looked like there was like a huge lag, but yeah, we noticed that it was just cut off, not delayed for some reason. But yeah, today it looks like it's functioning fine, so I'm very happy about this. Alright, so yes, welcome to Mira's Miracle MIRAdio. Woo! So yeah, let me explain a little bit about the radio first, or podcast. So yeah, I said on X and I posted in the community that I'll be doing a bilingual radio podcast stream. But you may be thinking, hey, but you're only speaking in English. Why is that? Exactly. So yeah, some people may have noticed that last night I did a Japanese stream. So how the way this will work is I will do only one language at a time for my sake and for your sake. Yeah, I just can't keep up with all the languages, and I thought it was better. I did debate it, but I also got input from a friend that having the translation come like directly after the Japanese isn't actually very helpful when trying to practice Japanese listening. So with that in mind, I decided to just do Japanese and then later do an English only stream where you can kind of check your comprehension, and yeah. And if you aren't a Japanese learner, then you can just tune into the English stream and that's cool too. So yeah, that's how this will work. We'll be covering the same topics so you can kind of understand yeah, what things are, how things unfolded. Alright. So yeah, and I guess yeah, my friend wanted to know if there were any good Japanese podcasts, and I actually don't listen to so many podcasts, especially in Japanese, so I didn't really know. So yeah, I decided to just create my own. Why not? And yeah, I was very interested in streaming anyways, so I thought it was a good opportunity. And if in the future I am able to actually host a radio show on the air, then I thought maybe this would be somewhat good practice for that also. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy and get something from this. So yeah, without further ado, maybe let's jump into today's topic. So, today's topic, yes, the first topic is self-introduction. Alright, so self-introduction, we'll make this short. My name's Mira. I'm a bilingual voice actor and narrator in Japan. I also do a little bit of translations, localization also, and yeah, I'm based in Japan, so good morning, Ohio for me. And I'm not sure where you guys are located, so hello. And yeah, other things, I was born and raised in America, and yeah, I went through all my education, pre-K all the way to university in America, and then I moved to Japan. And then, let's see, what else do you say for your self-introduction? My favorite animal is dogs. And my favorite color is maybe sky blue. And I love mint chocolate. How long have you been living in Japan? That is a great question. I've been living here 8-ish years, I would say. So yeah, it's been a while. We're slowly approaching a decade, which is crazy. So yeah, yeah, other than that, I guess that's really... Oh, I forgot. This isn't really self-introduction, but I forgot to mention about the stream. Yes. So, yeah, you might have seen my beautiful streaming background, the overlay. I had my friend DEMONDICE design and illustrate this for me, so thank you very much, DEMONDICE, yay! I know she's like super busy, so I'm so thankful, thank you! So, yeah, and then I think maybe that concludes my self-introduction. Yeah! So then, I'd like to get on with the FAQs for bilinguals. So I put together a list of questions that a lot of people ask me because I am bilingual. So let's take a look at the first page. All right. So, page 1. There's only 2 pages. But, page 1. Alright. So, first of all, what languages do you speak? So, yeah, I speak Japanese and English. Yes. And I'm not like fluent or native at all, but I can like kind of speak Spanish in a way. In my school, in elementary school, I don't know why, but our school district required Spanish from elementary school. So I took Spanish from elementary school and I enjoyed it, so I decided to continue it all the way until university. So I would say like at my peak I was pretty good. um, but, you know, in Japan, I don't use it so much. So, yeah, it's gotten kind of worse. Definitely worse, I'm sure. So I'm trying to keep up with it. But it's just hard. Not many opportunities here. So, yeah, we'll see. If anyone's interested, maybe I could do a Spanish stream one day and see how long I can last. So yeah, I would say I'm bilingual, and then I'm conversational in Spanish. Yeah, and then the second question, I get asked this a lot, especially in Japan. Are you mixed race? Yeah, a lot of people, I guess, don't meet many bilingual people here in Japan, so they kind of assume that you're half if you are bilingual. So I get asked this a lot, and yeah, the short answer is no. Both of my parents are Japanese, and so I grew up speaking Japanese in my house, and then everywhere else I went was English. And yeah, we had a very strict no English in the house rule, which is why my Japanese stuck, I guess. I know a lot of my Japanese American friends, they can understand, but they can't speak, or they don't understand as well. And yeah, I feel like maybe that's because they weren't forced to use it in the house. Yeah, it's great now in retrospect. But yeah, when I was a child, I definitely did not enjoy it as much. Just because, you know, you don't understand as a child, like how it's gonna be better for you in the future. You don't really think about that when you're a child. You just want to play. I wish I was forced to speak in my house. Yeah. So, yeah, my parents would kind of scold us if they hear us speaking English in the house. And yeah, I've tried a lot with my brother, but they somehow pick up the English very quickly. They catch us every time. So yeah, I'm not mixed raced, and yeah, I'm genuinely surprised about how, like, a lot of my internet friends that I've known for a long time, like, they actually are surprised when I tell them that I'm not half, and they'll be like, wait, I thought you were. And I'm like, no, I never said I was. So a lot of people, yeah, kind of assume that I am. But yeah, surprise, I'm not. Yeah, so moving on to the next question, number 3. How did you become bilingual? So yeah, this kind of connects to the last question. But yeah, I was born and raised in the US, which is why I know English. And then Japanese, we spoke in the house. And yeah, I was also forced to study Japanese. We didn't go to Japanese school, but we had this, like, it was kind of like Kumon, but like you would only receive like a packet. So we got this packet sent to us every month, and that was kind of considered our Japanese homework. And yeah, we would have to study all four. Well, we started off with just 2 subjects, just like Japanese and math. But then as we got older, it increased to 4 subjects. Japanese, math, and then science and social studies. So that packet included those subjects in Japanese, and it was like a workbook. You would have to like answer the questions, read, and all that not fun stuff. So yeah, I was kind of forced to do that. Yeah, so that's how I became bilingual, and I guess I had like a natural interest in anime also, which helped. Growing up, I loved Sailor Moon, so yeah, I would watch a bunch of anime, which helped. I guess it did help my motivation, I would say. So yeah, that's another way, I guess, I learned, kind of. I don't know if I learned anything from anime. Maybe. Yeah, it's so important to learn naturally at home because you learn the language naturally at school, in public. Yeah, yes. So yeah, I would say like I'm very thankful that I learned both naturally. So you know how like if someone learns English, they sound very textbooky. Like their English sounds very like formatted, and they're like, "Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" And it's just like not as natural. But yeah, for me, I was thankful. I was fortunate enough to learn both in kind of a natural situation. Must be hating it when you were small. Yeah, yes. Even now, I do struggle. Yeah, especially with Japanese, which we'll get into later, actually. Yeah, which is actually a great segue into question number 4. Which language are you better at? I would definitely say I'm better at English, just because all of my schooling was done in English. So, I would say I can sound more intellectual if I want to in English than in Japanese. And yeah, in terms of speaking, I would say like, or at least I would hope that they're about the same level. Maybe my English is still a little bit better when it comes to like difficult subjects. But in terms of reading and writing, like definitely I'm better at English. Yeah, it's yeah, there's no competition. Just because Japanese, we have hiragana, katakana, and kanji. And kanji, there's like thousands of characters, and I'm just like I can't, like I don't want to give up, but I'm like very close. So yeah, so yes, I am still struggling with kanji, just because I hadn't really studied it so much. I was supposed to when I was doing the packets, the workbooks, but you know how it is. I would just kind of copy and, you know, it was very passive and not really like active. I wasn't really trying to actually learn. I was just like, I just want to get it done. So, yeah, I do wish that I did study kanji a little bit more seriously, but it is what it is. So right now I am trying to read more in Japanese, and I will read a book, and then while reading, if I come across a kanji character that I don't know, then I will look it up on my phone and take note of it on my phone. And then once I have like a bunch listed up, I will copy it onto like I have like a kanji notebook, and sometimes by the time I copy it onto my notebook, I can read it, and yeah, that makes me kind of happy because I can see that I actually did learn something, and yeah, like I'm actually improving by reading. Yay. So yeah, I try to read whenever I'm on the train these days. That's like my reading time. So yeah, that's how I'm learning right now. It's kind of passive, but I guess it's more natural than just like studying a kanji that like no one ever uses. Or so I'll study all the ones that come up in stories and books, so if I have to read them in the future, I can. So yeah, yes, so I'm better in English all the way. And yeah, number 5, what language do you think in? So I get asked this a lot too. The short answer again is both. So depending on what language like my surroundings are in, I'll think in different languages. And I guess like in my brain, I don't really distinguish or kind of think about which language to think in. It just kind of like automatically happens. And this will depend also on my mood. Just like my feeling. So yeah, sometimes I'll wake up kind of feeling more American and then I'll think in English more. But I would say like recently I've been thinking more in Japanese just because I live in Japan now, and that's the language that I hear and use more often, I would say. So yeah, but when I'm alone, yeah, it's very difficult to kind of say like I use this one more, just because yeah, I don't really think about it. Like whatever language comes to mind first, I just think in that language. Waking up in the morning feels like USA. Yeah. that is me sometimes. Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like America today. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Whatever language just comes first, really. And I don't really know what that depends on sometimes. It's just the atmosphere, my feeling. There are multiple factors that play a role in it. So yeah, interesting. All right, so we've gotten through half of the questions. So let's move on to part 2, page 2. All right. I forgot. I had my my avatar, but I forgot to put her on the first page. Yeah, my avatar, this one was drawn by Hanemu. She designed the character also. So yeah, she's a game developer, and I'll be voicing I'll be voicing 2 characters in it. So yeah, and yes, number 6. What language do you dream in? So this also actually, it depends. I will dream in both. And recently I'll say that I dream more in Japanese, I think. Yes. I think that this also depends on my usage, like how long I'm using Japanese in my life, or in my day. So yeah, because I live in Japan, I feel like I dream more in Japanese now. Cause yeah, I would say that's the main language that I'm using right now. And of course, like if I'm talking to my friends in the US in my dream, then I will definitely speak English in my dream to them. And yeah, kind of fun story. I have dreamed in Spanish before, but only like bits and pieces. It was funny because my Spanish, I remember thinking that like even in my dream I was like, why is my Spanish so bad? I've dreamt in Spanish maybe like a total of 3 times, and I think like the first 2 times it was like atrocious Spanish. I was like, yo me lamo, kind of like really bad Spanish. And I remember thinking in my dream, like, why can't I speak Spanish like when I need to? But the people in my dream, they were speaking to me in like perfect Spanish, so that was interesting. It kind of shows that maybe my listening is better than my speaking in Spanish. There's gotta be a psychological study on dream and language. Yeah, I'm sure there is. I just haven't done my research. So yeah, but I was really happy when I dreamt in Spanish, because when I woke up, I was really excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I dreamt in Spanish. Because it kind of shows that like that language is really starting to become a part of you. And yeah, because I've been studying Spanish for so long, and because I really enjoy the language, I was really happy to kind of know that Spanish was also becoming a part of me. So yeah, I was really happy about that. I think I dreamt in Spanish once after moving to Japan also, which was kind of surprising. But yeah, happy again. So yeah, do you guys have dreams often or not so much. It's kind of interesting. Like all of my friends that I ask, I feel like women dream more than men. At least like people around me, that's kind of been the trend. I don't know why. I'm sure there's some psychological study on that also, but it just seems like maybe men don't dream as much as women around me. So yeah, very interesting. That is a possibility. Yeah, people, I guess studies say that you dream every day, but you just don't remember it. So I guess maybe guys don't remember it. So yeah, did I have a dream last night? I feel like I did, but I forgot. I guess I'm dumb too. I do remember a recent dream where my grandparents who passed away were still alive, and I was at their house, and I guess we were like searching for something. I was like going through drawers, and they were like laughing, and I don't know like what I was looking for or why they were laughing, but yeah, that's all I remember about that dream. No, a bunch of spiders in my dream. I hate spiders. I think like one of the worst things in this world for me is spiders. Like I hate spiders with a fiery passion. Like if there is like a tiny spider, I will smash the living soul out of that creature. I think there has to be a meaning why I decided to come up with spiders and scary things in my dream. Yeah, actually, it's quite interesting to look at kind of like, not, I guess it's like fortune telling, but with like dreams. So you would kind of like search, you can just like search on Google like I saw like spiders in dreams meaning kind of thing, and then I'm sure it will tell you. It's kind of interesting. I've been doing that actually a lot recently. Yeah, I'll be like, like this came up in my dream, I wonder what it means. So yeah, well, yes, when I smash the spider, I don't like, I touch it like with a fly swatter. So like I have a quite a long distance from the spider, and even then I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh, I don't want to touch it. Ah. But I gotta do it. Like it's either that or like it keeps living. And I'm like, I need it to be deceased right now. So yeah, yes. Yeah, enough about spiders. Moving on to number 7. Any words or phrases you accidentally use. So yeah, I was thinking about this last night when I was streaming in Japanese, but recently my verbal nods, like instead of saying uh-huh or like yeah or like huh, like all of my verbal nods have become more Japanese. So even when my American friends will be talking to me, I'll still say like, ah, which is very Japanese. So yeah, I've become more Japanese in that sense. And then yeah, the opposite, like any English words that come up while speaking Japanese, I would say are mostly profanities. So yeah, because I grew up speaking Japanese only in the house and under parental advisory, of course I was not allowed to swear in Japanese, and I wasn't allowed to like say bad words or like have bad attitude in Japanese. I'm not used to saying such terrible things in Japanese, but in English, like at school or with my friends, where people aren't listening, where adults aren't listening, I was allowed to say whatever I wanted. So yeah, I definitely say more profanities in English. So yeah, like when I'm playing games also, like I was playing Monster Hunter with my friends in Japanese, and we'll be like talking in Japanese, and then like if I get hit or if I die, I would most likely say something in English. And I'll like try to stop myself. I'll maybe like say the first consonant and a half, and then be like, oh wait, I shouldn't say this. I don't want to teach my Japanese friends bad English, no. So I'll try to stop myself, but yeah, profanities, I will most likely say them in English, yes. And then yeah, I also get asked like when you're surprised or if you get like hurt, like which one comes out first. And I would say both, actually. Yeah, like recently I like stubbed my toe or something, and I actually said in Japanese, yeah, I was like "ita," which is like ouch in Japanese. So yeah, I was kind of surprised. I surprised myself with that. That Japanese came out first. So yeah, I was like, huh, Japanese came out. I guess I'm becoming more Japanese, maybe. So yeah, but I think when I was living in the States, I probably would have never said like the Japanese version of ouch. I would have probably just stuck to cursing. So yeah, I guess those are my phrases, words that I accidentally use in the other language. And number 8. What language do you speak at home? So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we spoke Japanese in the house, and yeah, if my parents were gone, then my brother and I would speak English together. because I would say like my brother and I are the kind of the same in terms of like our brain, I guess, like how language works in our brain. So it is easier and faster to just communicate in English with my brother. So without my parents, we would just communicate in English. Yeah. Oh, congratulations on your first stream. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. So yeah, we would be forced to speak Japanese and secretly speak English when my parents are not home. And yeah, because of this, there is kind of like a set of vocabulary that I don't know in English. So like a lot of like kitchen items, I don't know how to say them in English because I would always just say them in Japanese, and I don't think I really cooked at like other people's houses either, so I didn't really need to say like, hey, could you pass me the whatever, you know? Like I know the very basics. I can say like spatula or whatever, but like we have this like spatula that is like shorter and like solely used for rice, and in Japanese we say oshamoji, but I have no idea how to say that in English, like no idea. So yeah, it's interesting. In certain areas my English vocabulary is like completely missing, just because rice scooper, is that what it's called? Really? I don't know. Maybe that's the word. It's like a little bit flat. It's not really like a scoop, but I guess maybe it'll definitely get the point across for sure. But yeah, I had no idea how to say that. So certain things like that, I'll be like, I don't know how to say this in English because I never had to. So yeah, kind of a fun little fact about being bilingual. Some of our vocabulary is completely missing. Yeah, number 9. When do you use each language? So for me, basically, I just use whatever language the other person is using. So if I'm speaking to someone from America and they speak English, I will obviously use English. And on the other hand, if I'm speaking to a Japanese person and they're speaking Japanese, I will use Japanese because that makes sense. But the kind of not difficult but interesting part is, what if you're talking to another bilingual? So if I'm speaking to another bilingual person who is like just as fluent as I am in both languages, then yeah, that's when I start debating, what language should I use? And I would say for the most part, I would stick to whatever language we met in. So if we first meet in English and we introduce ourselves in English, I would most likely use English until they forget English, or until until we don't feel like it. If we met in Japanese, then I will continue speaking Japanese with that person. And yeah, I guess like for me, especially in Japanese, like there's so many different formalities that if I switch from English to Japanese, I don't know like which formality to use. So I get like very hesitant. I'm like, wait, should I use masu? Like, should I respect them? Should I say san? Like, do I say Megan san? Like, but we're friends. I don't know. So yeah, I would most likely just stick with the language that I met the person in, because it's easier to kind of judge our like friendship level, like the distance, all of that, like the formalities. Yeah. And yeah, someone asked me last night, kind of related to this, has my impression of anyone changed when they're speaking English versus when they're speaking Japanese? And I would say, like, I have this one friend who is bilingual in Japanese and English as well. And for some reason, I feel like she sounded more intellectual in Japanese. I don't know why. My theory is that she sounded more calm in Japanese than in English. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Like, it could be just that, like, after a certain amount of years, like, we didn't talk for, I don't know, I would say, like, at least 4 years we hadn't talked, and then we started talking again. So maybe in the 4 years, like, she matured, I don't know. But yeah, when we spoke in Japanese, she sounded more mature than in English for some reason. And yeah, I would also say that even for me, I would say that I'm more sociable, I'm more outgoing in English than I am in Japanese. Yeah, just culturally speaking, like, it's more natural. Yeah, it's just more natural to talk about, or like talk more casually and like more friendly in English than than in Japanese. So I guess, yeah, that makes me more outgoing in English, and I guess it's easier to, culturally speaking, express my opinions more clearly in English. In Japanese, I think about it a little bit more, and I think about like how to phrase it more than in English. So yeah, and then we're down to our final question. What are the good, bad points of being bilingual? So let's start off with the good. Yes, the good points of being bilingual. So I would say, the biggest benefit of being bilingual is being able to communicate with a lot of different people without having to go through translations, and I can get like their raw input firsthand. So that's like a huge benefit of being bilingual. And I would also say, like, realistically speaking, at least in Japan, like, it's probably easier to get a job here if you are bilingual, especially if you know English, just because that's become kind of the like international language, you know. So yeah, those are some benefits. And then also, I guess, like, being able to help out people when needed. So currently there's a lot of tourists in Japan, and occasionally I do get asked for, like, directions or to take a picture, etc. And yeah, it's funny because they'll ask me, like, oh, how do I get to blah blah blah, or like, oh, could you take a picture? And I'll answer in, like, completely native English and they will seem very surprised. They're all like, oh, whoa, your English is good. It's like the opposite of, like, Nihongo Jozu, like they were like, oh wow, your English is good. I'm like, yeah, actually I grew up in the States. So yeah, surprise to them. So yeah, that's kind of a good and kind of fun point of being bilingual. You can kind of surprise them. That's also happened to me in Spanish too, where I used to teach English to a bunch of Hispanic people, but they wouldn't assume that I spoke Spanish. So I would find, like, the right timing, and yeah, I would just tell them, like, hey, actually I speak Spanish in Spanish. And then they would all be like, oh my god. So yeah, it's always fun to kind of play around like that. Yeah, and then the bad points of being bilingual. I kind of touched on this before, but yeah, studying. So yeah, to simply put it, like, you have to study, like, twice as much basically, because you have to learn everything in English, and then I had to learn that again, but in Japanese. So yeah, I hated studying Japanese growing up, but of course I am very thankful now. But yeah, as a child, I did not enjoy, and yeah, a lot of times I had to finish Japanese homework before playing, and on occasion I would just say, fine, then I'm not gonna play, then I'm not gonna do my Japanese homework, I'm not gonna do anything. And yeah, I'm sure my parents had a hard time. But yeah, I guess that is one bad point of being bilingual, the studying. Yeah. But I would say it pays off in the end. And another kind of bad thing is when I was, like, new in Japan, I kind of had difficulty not communicating, but just kind of I guess accepting that my Japanese is not as good. But of course, like I talked about how my parents are both Japanese, so I look Japanese. So people don't assume that I'm from America. So they speak to me as if I am just like a Japan born and raised person. And I would sometimes have difficulty with like the difficult vocabulary that they're using, or like the kanji that's written there. And I would be really ashamed of myself when I didn't understand what they were saying, and I would get stressed, and yeah, so that was kind of like a bad part about being bilingual, because I'm sure that like one language is better than the other, and then when you try to communicate in the one that isn't as strong, you kind of feel a little bit bad. So yeah, but I did get over it. Like my colleague who is also bilingual, she helped me through it, and she gave me some good advice, so I no longer care. Yeah, like I had one time when I was still like new to the trains too, and I didn't know like which train to take to where, and I asked one of the train station staff like, oh, does this train go to Shinjuku? And he looked at me with like this really like menacing look, and he was like, yes. And I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm sorry. But yeah, that was just his bad, not my bad. Oh, hello, thank you for dropping by. So yeah, things like that I did experience, and I still do get a little bit nervous at like the doctors, like, oh, what if I don't understand like what's written on the forms, or like what if I don't understand what the doctor's saying. But I've learned to kind of not be ashamed to say I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, I've just kind of gotten used to saying like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really understand what you're saying, and not feel bad about it. Yeah, so I did have to kind of learn how not to feel bad about not being as strong in Japanese. But yeah, I feel like maybe those are the bad points of being bilingual. And I guess like a bit of identity crisis. Yeah, but other than that, maybe yeah, that's it. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for the 10 FAQs for bilinguals. But does anyone have any other questions? Anything that I didn't cover on here that you are interested in, or anything that came to mind while like listening to my stories? Trilingual. I talked a little bit about this, but yeah, I would say like 2.5. I wouldn't consider myself trilingual. I was more trilingual at the end of university when Spanish was still like fresh. But now it's definitely gotten worse, sadly. But yeah, maybe one day I'll do a Spanish stream to see how long I can last. It'll kind of be like a bangai hen, a special, maybe. Mucho ánimo, gracias. Yes. So, yeah, if there are no questions, yeah, I have been streaming for just about an hour, so I feel like that's like a good amount. So yeah, if there are no questions, I'd like to kind of start wrapping things up. So let me get these out of the way. Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'll leave an archive too, so if you are interested, you can definitely listen again and see what kind of topics I covered. And if you want to also see what the Japanese stream was like, you can also go there also. Yeah, so thank you all very much for joining my first stream. Yes, in English. So yeah, I haven't decided when the next stream will be, but sometime in February for sure, because yeah, February is right around the corner. So yeah, thank you all very much for joining, and I hope you join next time. And I guess hit the like button, the thumbs up button. I don't know what it's called right now. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm also on X, so if you haven't followed me there, please do. And yeah, I will announce when the next stream is, both on YouTube community and on my X. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one. So thank you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. And yeah, see you in the next stream. Bye.